putting the X in success. Electric cars, the hype, the money, the truth, Employee Edition with Nat Parkin, Client Services Manager and CSR Lead at Pluxee UK, and Ali Argall, Business Development and Client Retention Director at Tusker.
In the first part of the podcast, we tackled questions that we might have from employees. But with all the media coverage, not all of which is positive or accurate, we know employees also have many questions before taking on a salary sacrifice car scheme. And there's also something new to share that I'm personally very excited about, is pre-loved cars, but we will hear more about that shortly. Before we begin, Ali, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you some quick fire questions. So,
Okay.
What is the most popular electric car on the scheme to drive and why?
So currently, and of course things move and shake around, but currently it's the Tesla Model Y.
Of course.
That features most. And I guess, Elon,
Yeah.
he's done a good job.
Yeah.
It is the iPhone, I guess, of the automotive industry. The key thing here about Tesla was that they were early to market. The super fast chargers have made it so convenient, and you get a range of more than 300 miles. So add all those together, new technology, kind of a bit quirky, a bit different, and convenience, it was bound to be well received.
Might be one day that we see you offering the robots, but they've just...
Well, I'm up for self-drive if I could do it. How convenient.
So another question. How many electric cars are there on the road today?
So increasing at a really lovely rapid rate. So looking at, I think we hit the 1 million electric cars on the road back in March this year. We're looking at about 1.3 million now. So really seeing that increase and that adoption.
There's lots of noise in the media.
Always.
Yeah, always. We hear EV is obviously strong, or then you might hear that there are some negatives. What's your kind of view on this?
Without a doubt, it is strong. The government's Road to Zero strategy that has incentivised the adoption of pure electric vehicles, or actually low emission vehicles to some extent, so including plug-in hybrids there. And we have seen at Tusker, 85% of our fleet is pure electric vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, sort of when we start looking in the whys, it'll become apparent that it, from a incentivized position, it makes amazing good sense.
So my final quickfire question is, what was the first modern day electric car?
So we think of electric cars being very modern, but actually 1838 is recorded as the first electric vehicle. But when we talk modern, we're talking 2014 would have been sort of what we see with electric vehicles today, and was the Nissan Leaf.
What is the main difference between a salary sacrifice arrangement and a personal leasing from a financial perspective?
So the main difference between a salary sacrifice provision and a typical lease or PCP arrangement is that because your employer is offering it to you, that you're reducing your salary before tax and national insurance is deducted, which means that you're getting that as a saving. So you're not paying tax and national insurance on that element, therefore you're able to utilise that more within the car. Because again, the employer is organising this scheme, they're going to get corporate finance rates compared to retail finance rates. You're going to get fantastic manufactured deals because you've got, of course, this great pool of buying power that's going on behind you. For some schemes, they might even be more VAT efficient, so you're paying less VAT, which of course you pay on a personal lease. And are you getting a fully all-inclusive motoring package?
What's included in the service to give those employees an extra peace of mind?
So what's included, of course, is the choice, the finance on the vehicle that they've selected over the chosen term and mileage. They're also getting maintenance. That maintenance is full, so it's not just go in for a service. We're talking about replacing light bulbs, windscreens, talking about all tyres that are included in the scheme. So have a puncture, it's just off they go into Quick Fit in our instance and get that replaced. fully comprehensive motor insurance, accident management, total loss protection, relief vehicle, roadside assistance, and there are some risk mitigation elements in there as well. So should something happen, and different things happen over a 2 to 5 year period, then certain protections there should they resign or in particular made redundant.
And I think when we talk about mental well-being, financial well-being, I think having a car is a big financial cost to you as a family. To you as a family. And I think, I mean, it's happened to me in the past where it's you get a tyre put on, then 2 months later you need another tyre, and all of that stuff. I think it adds stress. I think having to deal with all the different costs, especially as cars are getting older as well. You have to pay more. They're costing you more to run, maintain.
Without a doubt, that peace of mind that it's just one number, that it's all going to get sorted for you. I don't know. I mean, I detest going into garages because I always feel like I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to a mechanical, sort of failure or fault. The beauty here is you don't even have to do that. It's just one number, everything will be dealt with. So yeah, definitely helps with that whole well-being around both financial but I think mental as well. They're in an accident, they're broken down, they just need a ring, and they get all that lovely handhold all the way through, as well as we know, taking away for employees with financial well-being. So easy for people to come out of kilter. It doesn't take a lot to just be unlucky, have 2 punctures in, 2 weeks. You're talking a lot of money that's suddenly paid out. So we really, from the outset, I don't think people see that benefit so much, but in life, man, I can tell you employees really value it.
And I think that is something when employees are going out to look at cars, it's really something to keep in mind when you're doing that comparison with salary sacrifice scheme and a personal lease, because obviously you would not probably have all of that included in your personal leasing. So it's really, you really should keep that in mind when you are shopping about and having a look. What kind of new initiatives do you have to make the scheme even more inclusive?
So from our perspective, we want to make sure that most employees can choose a car. We are stuck by national living wage restrictions, which of course is HMRC rule set. So you have to provide entry level for 20% taxpayers, in particular lower earners, affordable cars. As we mentioned earlier, it's all about getting those great discounts and seeing a car come in at a lower level. So we've been looking at wider initiatives around inclusivity. So this year we introduced 5-year arrangements, which of course is managing depreciation over a longer term, so making it more affordable. And we've also introduced, which will be rolled out in full in the new year, is pre-loved, so used vehicles basically being taken on the scheme as well. So we've been doing trial sets for the last 3 months, and engagement level is very good.
And I know everybody at Pluxee is super excited for
when.
So I think you get asked all the time, like, when is it happening? When is it happening? And it's something we're all excited about. I mean, I don't think I'm still going to be able to get a electric Porsche, but it's kind of...
Unfortunately, most Porsche drivers don't give them back early.
No. So the world has changed since COVID. People are commuting less. What's the typical daily or weekly mileage you find on most electric vehicles? So
this is quite, I think, surprising to people that, typically we see an average commute of around 13 miles from the data that Tusker have pulled together. But the car expert published a really nice article recently around the UK and typical stats. And the average household is 100 miles a week.
One phrase that we hear is range anxiety. for a new user of an electric vehicle. So what is the kind of situation with charging points across the UK, and what does the expansion of the network look like, and what can we kind of expect to see?
Most of the time you hear about range anxiety of people that haven't got an electric vehicle or don't know people that are really driving an electric vehicle. So typical range on an average range on current vehicles is kind of 250 miles. So if you go back to that 100 miles, you're talking about 2.5 weeks before you even need to charge a car. But 2/3 of the population typically have an off-road parking, and within our scheme we will help people organise a home charger. That takes all the pressure away, or the majority of the pressure away, when you look at typical commutes, and you're now talking about somebody, making a specific long journey. Within our driver portal, we have ZapMap, which enables people to do that planning, and it is just planning. There are 70,000 plus charge points across the UK. That's increasing by 2,000 to 3,000 every month. The ambition is to see that get up to 300,000 charge points across the UK. So yes, there's a transition. If you go up sort of the left of the country versus the right, you may see different. Geography does still have a bit of an impact on there, but I think the key thing is to keep in mind, if you can have a home charge point put in, it's cost effective to do that, because we're talking about saving around £1,000 per annum on petrol versus diesel. Again, our online tool will help people see, because it does depend what car they're replacing as to what they might see as those cost savings. So it's really great to have that tangible evidence. But it is around education and people kind of planning for those really exceptional journeys.
And when we speak about charging at home, some energy providers now provide off-peak
They do.
tariffs.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a lot of the energy companies are looking to encourage people to charge at the most efficient time. And it's all very savvy and very clever now, where they'll either communicate when that best time is, or the technology is clever enough to know that actually peak is down, therefore is the cars will, if plugged in, will automatically then start charging at the most economical time. And actually the other day, my husband charged at night and they sent him a £9 gift voucher.
You're getting paid.
He was getting paid. But there are incentives. There are people that are doing, are basically drawing down from the grid and doing credits on accounts. So it's even more exciting time.
Pre-loved cars make the scheme more affordable. What is the lowest salary a employee can earn and afford to get a car through the salary sacrifice scheme?
So typically, schemes can be structured differently. It can depend whether how the employer has set the scheme up, but it could range anywhere between £29,000 and £30,000 full-time equivalent salary to enjoy a car on the scheme.
Before we finish, what is the one thing you'd say to someone considering getting a car on the salary sacrifice scheme but is unsure whether it's right for them?
I would say either spend some time on the driver portal so that you can really utilise all the tools on there to help you understand what the overall cost efficiencies are, what the benefits are. Is it right for you? Are you EV ready? What are your fuel savings going to look like? So really tangibly do that research, or give us a call, because we have a great team at Tusker just waiting to talk to people, to employees around what suits them and help guide them into the most suitable options for them.
Join us next time to discover how Pluxee UK is putting the X in success, enhancing employee engagement and making work not just a place to be, but a place to belong.